Thank you. First of all, let's voice our concerns about public transportation here in Washington County. My name is Bill Brooks. I'm a member of St. Vincent's de Paul Society here in Washington County. If you don't know, we are a charitable organization, and we help the less fortunate residents and neighbors in Washington County. We help them with many, many things. Whatever they call in, we try to help them with. One of the things we languish with is public transportation. As you know, when you get farther into Washington County, away from maybe Westerly and Narragansett, there's practically no public transportation. We have residents that are trapped in their house because they have no access to a vehicle or transportation. We help them with everything from heating to electric, you name it. But one thing we can't help them with is transportation. But we do see a solution. And actually, you guys, RIPTA, has introduced it. It's called Flex on Demand. And what it is a ride share, similar to Uber. You also have an app, a RIPTA app that you can download to your smartphone. You can schedule an appointment for a pickup and a delivery and a pickup back home again. We see this as the most efficient solution for the rural areas in Washington County, if not all the areas of Washington County. It looks like it's be more efficient than running a big bus down there 15 times a day with 2 people on it. So we are here today, me and my fellow Vincentians, to advocate for this service, to expand this service, not to reduce it, and try to get it into all of Washington County, and especially into Charleston, where we have a number of less fortunate residents that are trapped. That's what I have to say today.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you for allowing me to speak to you. And I'm John Boyette. And I've taken the bus for about 20 years. I don't have a car. I'm disabled. And that's my main form of transportation. I take it to work. If I could take it to church, I would take it to church. But it's out of the flex zone, and it's out of the fixed street zone, and it doesn't go up Boston Neck Road on Sundays. The disabled people and the mentally ill people and stuff would be affected by these changes that RIPTA is proposing, and that would hurt them. That would hurt them going to hospitals, doctor appointments. I take it to the doctor's appointments. I take it to work. And other people take 69 from Providence and other places to Shaw's to go to work, and to Walgreens, and to Stop and Shop. So that would affect the economy down here, big time. And so I oppose the changes that that RIPTA is proposing. And thank you.
My name's Jennifer Mellish. I'm Boyette. I'm John's wife, who just spoke. I also oppose the cuts, especially to 69 and Flex 203. We took the Flex bus to get here today to this meeting. I take it to work. I take it to the doctor's office to go grocery shopping. It would be awful if they cut it. Thanks. Bye.
Hello, I'm here to speak on behalf of the University of Rhode Island and also the community itself in general. These cuts that they're proposing would severely impact the University of Rhode Island, as well as the countless number of residents here in South County, especially the Route 69. That is heavily ridden. We have students and staff that ride that on a daily basis. That's their only means of transportation to get to our flagship university. And it would be detrimental. Needless to say, we have a lot of international students who heavily rely on that to get out to the groceries, pharmacy, and to commute back and forth to their residential areas. Even the reduction of the 66 is going to have a big impact because there's going to be overridership again. There's going to be a demand where they stand up coming from Providence already. That's going to be shutting people out to be able to get to the campus from Providence. So the 64, reducing that from 9 to 2 a day affects our Bay campus. It affects other riders going to places along that route. I'm just against the whole thing. The URI community is against this, and we need this to go away and continue the service and improve the service the way it's running now. That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name's Samantha. I'm a full-time grad student who relies on RIPTA every single day to get to school, to work, to live my life. I've been riding RIPTA for over 15 years. I remember when the buses were overcrowded coming back from CCRI and night campus. Let me be clear when I say this. For me and for thousands of other Rhode Islanders, these buses are not optional. They're essential. Eliminating routes does more than inconvenience people. It cuts them off from their education, their jobs, their medical appointments, and their communities. I can tell from personal experience, without RIPTA, I wouldn't be able to attend grad school this fall. I would not be able to work where I do. I would not be able to serve the community that I do in Providence. And I know I'm not the only one. I've spoken with classmates, colleagues, and these changes affect us all. And when you go to look up what a neighborhood impact statement is, it's a 2-page document that doesn't really tell you about the impact. It doesn't tell you about the people. It doesn't tell you about the drivers that are gonna get laid off or forced into early retirement. It doesn't tell you about the people that now can't get to their doctor's appointment. It's a disaster. Or just yesterday when I was riding the 66, I was coming back from Rhode Island College. I took the 55 to the 66, and I got laid over at URI waiting for the 69. And I was talking to kids that just got enrolled, that are very excited about going to CCRI this fall. And they were upset because they just realized that, hey, I live in South County and I'm not gonna be able to get to classes in the fall. And classes start next month, and they don't know about this. This is just a disaster. Rhode Island often talks about keeping young people here and building a strong future. Rhode Island has a lot of problems going on trying to keep these young students here and not having them brain drain into Connecticut or to Massachusetts. So if this is their example of community, and like, what are they supposed to do if they're getting stranded? What does that make them think of this state, of how we take care of our people? We need more public transportation, not less. We need real solutions, not service cuts. And if funding is not currently available, then we must be bold and find it. Because this is not about limiting bus routes, it's about eliminating access to opportunity. So I respectfully ask for you to find a way, because our futures depend on it. Thanks for your time.
Hi. My name is James Theroux. It's going to be tough to follow that, but we live on the route on 69 down in the Scarborough area, and unfortunately, from what we observe, there's not a lot of people that take the bus in that area. And if there are budget cuts and things that need to be done, I do see, unfortunately, a lot of waste in that area. Now, that doesn't mean the whole route maybe has to be eliminated, but certainly some routes. The bus goes by every hour, every day. Many times there's no one on the bus. There's actually nobody on this. It's a big bus. If cuts have to be made, and sometimes they do, unfortunately, and I feel for a lot of people who it affects, but sometimes you can eliminate certain areas of routes that could potentially make it work for everyone. The gentleman who spoke first about the flex thing, that sounds kind of like a better plan than to run these big buses throughout all the communities that don't have a lot of people on them many of the time. So there's got to be a better solution. So hopefully there's a way that it can work for everyone. Thank you. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name is Kira Homola. I actually completed my PhD in oceanography at the University of Rhode Island, and I'm now a resident here in Peacedale. And I just wanted to come on behalf of my household and all of my friends and family members that are still attending the University of Rhode Island. Thank you for coming and speaking and telling everyone how this will impact us as a community. There are 17,000 students enrolled at the University of Rhode Island. That's more than half the residents of South Kingstown. And we actually have about 40% of the students at the university that reside on campus, and many more that live in the region. And as we've mentioned, the 69 and the 66 and the 64 are all routes that serve the University of Rhode Island. It's access outside of the university campus. It's access to the other campus for anyone who studies oceanography or ocean engineering, which is primarily grad students, many of which come from other places, other countries even, to be able to study here, bringing their expertise and their resources with them. And those individuals will be disproportionately impacted. They will not be able to access the school that they came here to attend without these bus lines. And I realize that budget balancing is always a challenge, but I'd just like to point out today that we're talking about a $10 million deficit that we're trying to solve. That's 1% of the money we spent on roads in Rhode Island just this year. Okay? Surely there is a way we can come up with a solution which does not disproportionately impact our lower income and our student residents here, and instead is looking at those who are coming here, driving their cars on our roads every day. Our gas tax was a great start at a solution. There are ways we can focus differently. And again, those infrastructure costs will have an impact if we eliminate these bus routes. What do you expect these individuals to do? Either not attend school, or we're talking about 7,000 more cars for just the people living at the University of Rhode Island. And we will be the ones paying for those roads with these same tax dollars that we're talking about not spending on the buses that are already solving the problem, and that are already something we need more of. I ought to mention when we talk about this, we had trouble getting to this meeting today because we already don't have enough routes in the day, and many of us will be coming to the meeting later. So I would also like to mention on behalf of the international students that are here at the University of Rhode Island that don't feel comfortable speaking in a meeting for fear of how it would impact them, please remember that those voices are here and cannot, for the sake of their own safety, sit in the front of this room and tell you how they will not be able to go to school or the doctor or buy food. So let's please, we don't really have an alternative to these buses. And again, if we could take a little more time, consider the analysis and not eliminate the routes which are kind of the most populated and some of the most important routes, and as it was mentioned, instead focus on other areas. Sorry, I'm over time, but thank you, everyone. I appreciate this.
Hi, my name is Andrew Convey. I graduated the South Kingstown High School this year, and I'm currently working off of the CCRI Rhode Island Promise, which guarantees a free tuition for the first 2 years if you do it right after high school. I won't be able to achieve, I won't be able to go to college right after, I won't be able to go to college if I can't get there on Route 69, or, yeah. My life trajectory will be kind of ruined. I'll probably have to go into a, yeah, I don't know. My family can't afford another car right now, and yeah, pretty much my future would be ruined if I can't get to CCRI. Thank you.
All right. Good afternoon. My name is Anthony Diebold. I'm a resident here in South Kingstown. I'm here today to oppose the proposed cuts to RIPTA service in our area. One of the questions that I'm hoping that the RIPTA representatives can answer for us is why can the 69 route not be recombined with the 66 as it was about 8 years ago or so? Prior, those two routes were one route, just 166, and you know, if you're already paying to send a bus from Providence to South County, what is the impact of just a little bit longer route? What you're proposing is going to cut off people from essential services like the grocery store, the doctor, and is going to be a big inconvenience, especially for, as previous speakers pointed out, the URI students and also our low-income communities here in South County. So just to conclude, I am against these cuts to RIPTA services in our area, and I hope that the board will reconsider. Thank you.
I just want to start by saying that this makes me sick to have to be here and to have to listen to all the hardships that this is going to bring to our community and to the state as a whole. The General Assembly fought incredibly hard this year to make RIPTA whole, and we worked overtime behind the scenes. Thank goodness for Save RIPTA and the work of Liza and her associates for rallying a lot of the troops to a lot of these things. What was done last year when we were experiencing these proposed service cuts, what you all did to be able to bring in new drivers, to train them, to be able to maintain the service level that you have was a yeoman's task, and I want to applaud you for having done that. And I looked at what we did last year as an opportunity to continue to take RIPTA in the right direction and to make it a fully functioning, increasing service, increasing frequency, and all of the things that we all dream of. I felt like we were on the right trajectory. And this year, the General Assembly leadership let us down. I know there's 1,000 excuses, 1,000 reasons that they say they did not give us the additional $10 million that was desperately needed. But as was stated earlier, no one looks twice at DOT. No one looks twice at an extra $100 million for a project here, $100 million for a project there when it comes to roads and bridges. Well, what about the safety of our community when it comes to public transportation? What about the individuals who rely on it, right? The fact that someone's not going to be able to go to college next year because of this? These are major impacts. It's not just those who are taking the bus, it's those who don't take the bus. We're going to be sitting in extra traffic. We're going to be fighting for extra parking spots. The efficiency that we're going to lose if these cuts do in fact go through is exponential. It impacts each of us in this room in our own way, but the larger impact is going to be rippling throughout our community for years to come. We won't be able to recover from this overnight. The cuts that are being made right now are going to deeply impact people's ability to rely on public transportation in the future. If these routes come back, what's going to happen? Are people going to be able to trust them? Are they going to be able to take a job where they're relying on public transportation for fear of that route being cut? Are they going to be able to dream of going to college without knowing that the bus will be there to take them when they need to go? It's not a short-term issue that we're facing here. This is long-term repercussions. We need to be expanding and growing our ability to have public transit in a state this size. And it physically makes me ill to have to sit here and see all of the cuts that are proposed and the failure that we as a state are failing miserably at public transportation. And I want you all to be loud, and I want you all to not forget that there are people out there who are listening. And just please don't give up. We need RIPTA. I know you know that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kai Mafucci. I am a URI student at the University of Rhode Island, and I am from Wakefield, and I live there right now. And I am here to represent all of not only the other URI students and my friends and acquaintances, the people I even just see every day riding the bus. I speak specifically on behalf of the 69 because during the academic year, I use it nearly every day. I need it to get to school. Without it, how am I going to complete my education? I know a lot of other people that rely on it to get to not only URI, but CCRI, incoming CCRI students, incoming URI students, graduate international students. How pathetic does it look to the international students that they can't even get to school? That's ridiculous. Because, how does that represent our international standing? Is how does that make us look to the world, where we can't even get people to school? And I apologize, I didn't mean to interrupt the applause, but it just, but I know people that rely on it to get to work and to get to just wherever they need to go. Like everyone said, I'm preaching to the choir here, I know, but doctor's appointments, shopping, I use it for not only school, but for those things too. I don't own a car. If I ever use a car, I'm borrowing my parents' car. We don't have enough money to be able to buy another car. And like others have said, the amount of strain that would put on our infrastructure, traffic, parking spots, all of that, if we had all of these other cars on the road anyways. And I see the 69 full often. I understand that at some times of day, I understand it runs late at night, early in the morning, and it goes to places like Scarborough and Galilee that are less frequented, but there are sections and times of day where it is consistently full. Same with the 66 and other routes. And it's even absurd to me that they're considering, I understand if due to budget reasons, reducing hours, increasing fares, reducing the length of the route, but to completely eliminate the 69 is absurd to me. It's completely ridiculous. Like, I can't even see how we are here, but we are here. So, I don't know, I could go on and on, but that's all I'll say for now. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Renee Pasillo. I'm from Hopkinton. So I'm here representing a 53-unit low-income elderly housing out in the woods. There is no shopping near us. Our community is full of veterans. We have hardworking people that have lost their homes due to family illnesses. Sorry. We have a lady, Anna, that she shows up on Fridays. She relinquished her license a few years ago. Her car broke down and she couldn't replace it. She has no way to go to the grocery store. And that route's getting canceled altogether. We can't walk to it. There's people that get on the bus, and I know it's not a real busy bus, but it's the only one. It comes on Fridays. It goes to Stop and Shop. We need that. There isn't any other way. I'm just asking you to find a solution, please. I don't know if that's a solution that came up earlier, but there are people there, and it changes, you know, every few months it changes because it's elderly housing, and they die, and new people come in, but we need a way because we can't walk like 3 miles to the grocery store up hills and such. But it is affecting, and that's a Rural Ride Flex 301 in Hopkinton. Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Phil Eden. I grew up in South Kingstown. I grew up taking the 66. I currently represent NEARI, NEARI, which is a union of 11,000 educators around the state. 1 out of every 100 Rhode Islanders is a member of our union, and a lot of them use the bus to get around, to get to work. That is especially true of our members at URI. We represent 1,700 staff at URI. A lot of them take the bus, especially our grad students. We have international students who come from India or Nigeria. They're contributing their knowledge and their expertise to this community. URI would not run without them, and they cannot get around without the bus. It's totally impractical to ask them to go out and buy a car while they're here, let alone the implications that would have. The housing situation in Rhode Island is, as we all know, absurd. Trying to afford to live in South County is very difficult. We have members who are our graduate assistants make $23,000 a year. Try to afford rent in South Kingstown on $23,000 a year, and now you have to go buy a car because your bus route's getting canceled. These folks will not be able to get to work. That's going to negatively impact the whole community. Our students are also going to suffer. We represent the faculty and staff at CCRI as well. We heard from a student earlier who is now not going to be able to get there. CCRI is already having enrollment problems that's impacting their finances. This is going to negatively impact them as well. So across the board, these cuts are really damaging to the educational community, to our members, and to those of the community who don't take the bus. You know, I live on Kingstown Road. Trying to get out of my road with all the traffic because all the students who can't take the bus are driving past my road, my driveway. I can't get out of my driveway in the morning. That problem is going to get worse. There's going to be less parking. Parking at URI is already a huge problem, let alone the air quality of our kids playing outside with a line of traffic backed up at the Curtis Corner 108 intersection at that red light there, and my kids breathing in all those fumes because it's all cars and there's no buses. So this is going to have a very negative impact on our whole community. Our K through 12 students who, when I was in high school, I used to take the 66 up to Providence and kind of mess around and learn to explore. At a time when our students are struggling with mental health issues, they are going to be more isolated in their homes. It's a huge problem there. So across the board, these cuts are going to have a very negative impact in our community. We understand the fiscal realities, but we ask to find solutions, work with the communities, and let's maintain these routes so for the students and the staff who keep these institutions running. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. My name is Scott Schnoor. I am a resident of Wakefield, and I'm an employee at URI. I'm going to be speaking today on behalf of myself and my colleagues and some of my students who are not here today. So on the 69, which goes very close to my house, I see colleagues on the bus, I see students on the bus, and I ride the bus for myself to go to work, especially in the winter, and I ride it with my 3-year-old, who is absolutely obsessed with the bus, and he points at it every time it goes down Main Street. So eliminating service will not just affect me and my kid, who would be sad to see it gone, but really I'm thinking more about my community and my colleagues. And so one of my students yesterday told me how she's now having to look for a new lease. This is within a month of the school year starting because of bus cancellations, because she is dependent on the bus. And she is very afraid of coming to this meeting because she is an international student, and despite having a student visa in good standing, did not feel comfortable coming here in person to share her views. So she sent me a note and asked me to read this out for everyone. I am an international student, a PhD student at URI. I do not own a car, so I rely completely on RIPTA buses for my daily life. With the high cost of living in Rhode Island, it's not realistic for me to buy and maintain a car. With the proposed reduction of Route 64, which is being cut from 9 round trips to just 2, and the elimination of Route 69, I fear being cut off almost entirely from the places I need to go in order to live and study here. Route 69 takes me within walking distance of the shopping centers around Point Judith, where I shop for essentials. It connects me to banks, Stop and Shop, and other services I rely on to manage my daily living. Route 64 also provides my main link to and from home in Narragansett to campus. Without them, I would be forced to rely on costly ride shares and unsafe walking routes, which are not sustainable for me. So that is my student who did not come here out of fear of arrest. And speaking for myself, I just want to say that I think, as many people have, eliminating buses is bad for communities and bad for all of us. Low income and many disabled people rely on the bus as their main lifeline, and eliminating buses will make it harder for people to get to the doctor, to buy food, to get to school and work, and will raise pollution levels and will blow past any kind of climate goal that this state has. I do think there are solutions, and I'll name a couple. I think we can raise some taxes, especially on beach house owners and non-resident owners of properties. If people come to enjoy our state all summer, why are they not paying into it to make it a livable place? People talk about not letting Rhode Island slip into mediocrity or further into mediocrity in light of these cuts, and especially that's true when we look to our neighbors in New England. So let's not let that happen. I moved to Rhode Island intentionally, and I came here to build a life for my family. I was not employed at URI when I chose to move here. So I have hope for Rhode Island, and I hope that RIPTA does too, and can find the courage to find solutions to these problems, not more austerity. Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jamie Barrett, and I guess I'll premise this by saying I have low vision. It's low enough that I will never be able to get a license by any state law because you have to have a certain amount of vision for them to give you one, so I will never have a license. So whenever I move to someplace, the first thing that I consider is accessibility, right? So when I decided to come here as a postdoc for URI, the first thing I did was I tried to determine if I could get to my job, right? Any location that I could possibly live at, or, apartment lease that I could potentially have. The first thing I look for are grocery stores, access to various needs like doctors and dentists, and access to my work. I would not have chosen to live here in Wakefield if there wasn't a bus, specifically 69, that could take me to work. Because there's no alternative to me other than maybe a bike, but who is going to be able to bike 7 miles during heat advisories and like snowy, icy conditions and storms? It's just not a feasible alternative. So I would like to just kind of shout out to people that have kind of exceptional circumstances like mine. I have low vision, but I am not considered legally blind. So a lot of the services that would have served people that were legally blind do not serve me. So I have to have public transportation in order to do the things that I need to do. There are numerous reasons why people do not have a license. There are numerous reasons why people do not have a car. If we do not have public transportation, then as many people have already cited, we will be isolated and alone and unable to get to the places that we need to get to. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad to see the community out here, outraged that our main mass transit is getting cut. My name is J.G. Wedgemont. I'm a town council member in South Kingstown, born and raised, and I'm a proud 65X rider. I ride at the Providence. It's filled up by the time it hits the parking ride in East Greenwich. When I get out of work late and take the mass transit to Wickford, I take the 66 to URI and then wait till the 69 gets me. And the other day when I was on it, the 66 dropped me off at URI and transit told me it was going to keep going. And the driver goes, "Get out!" And I said, "Oh, I thought I was going to keep going." And he said, "No, it's actually done." I said, "No worries." I got off the bus, and sitting here today and hearing all the stories, I'm just imagining that permanently and how devastating that is going to be for our community. You know, I lived in New York for a while, and I was thrilled by mass transit, the Metro North line, the buses, the ability to grab a taxi anywhere. You know, the ability to move yourself without owning a vehicle was real. And before I go further, I just do want to thank the CEO of RIPTA for coming here, because everyone in this room, Mr. Durant, loves RIPTA. We love it. We support you and your team. And if we had the right in our state, if we could do it, we would elevate RIPTA to the level of MBTA, to the New York Metro North Line, to a level that is respectable and that would bring you the pride that you deserve, because RIPTA is important to us. And for South Kingstown residents, the 69 is the only way to get from east to west. This is going to affect fishermen. This is going to affect the grad student or the lawyer trying to go up to Providence to try her internship. She emailed me last week. And I take the 69 home late. It's the only way I can get out. I get off right at Brickley's, and I get Brickley's from the 69 right there. It's fantastic. I go on the bus, and I see fishermen going down to Galilee to go work for the day. I see people going to Stop and Shop and waiting an hour and a half to get, or 2 hours to get back on that to go right back to URI. I speak for the people of South Kingstown when I say we got to get creative. We got to really try here. And mind you, you look at the maps behind us. My God, do we have a problem? We have a problem. And we have an Act on Climate 2030 where we have to get off of our emissions as quickly as possible. It's state law. What are we doing here? As a South Kingstown Town Council member that rides public transit, I urge you to get creative. I urge you to go and get out there and see where the money is to close the structural deficit. We can find $10 million somewhere. Let's get creative. And I continue to urge you all to come out, keep speaking up, use your social media, use your voice, write in the paper, and don't let this go. Thank you.
Hi everybody, I'm Maggie. I'm a PhD student at the Graduate School of Oceanography, and I'm also the former president of Graduate Assistants United, which is a union that represents over 700 graduate assistants at the University of Rhode Island. Through my work with the union, I've come to learn just how important public transportation is for these bright minds that contribute to Rhode Island's flagship university. I oppose these RIPTA cuts because buses are a critical part of daily life for working class families and folks who don't have cars. including a lot of my international student colleagues who can't get a car because, obviously they cost a lot of money. We're living on graduate student stipends, which don't really allow for the purchase of a car, and for other reasons. A lot of these colleagues take the bus to and from work, including the Route 64, which services that 15 to 20 minutes between the Bay campus and the main campus. This includes my lab mate, who lives in the graduate student village on main campus. Without Route 64, she would just have no way to get to work, period. So I just would like to think, how else would she get to campus? She doesn't have a car. These budget cuts would affect a ton of URI graduate students. Let me put it this way. It already sucks to be broke. It sucks to be broke in Rhode Island, and it sucks to be on a graduate student stipend in Rhode Island. It would suck even more to not be able to get to and from work. That's why you see a lot of URI folks here today, and I look forward to more people showing up all over the state at later public hearings. So anyways, please save our buses. Thank you.
Hey, everyone. My name is Liza Birkin. I'm the board president of the Providence Streets Coalition and the Save RIPTA campaign. For everyone in the room right now, thank you for showing up. Thank you. We are bus riders and bike riders, and so I want to apologize for not having the capacity to spend more time in South County when we're doing our activism in Providence and at the State House. And I invite all of you to get involved by visiting pvdstreets.org, following us on social media, and we will connect you to the channels from which to share your voice, because this cannot happen. This is personal for me. I live in Providence. My mom lives on Old Boston Neck Road in Narragansett. And they are eliminating the bus that I can take to go see my mother. My brother, who's about to have a baby, is moving on to Boone Street, and they don't have a car. This is very personal. My dad lives in Boston. My brother needs to be able to get to Wickford on the bus to visit my sick father in Boston. This is personal, and this is devastating for all of us in this room. While we're correct to be here, obviously our fine folks from RIPTA are here with us today. Please use your voice and direct it at Governor McKee, because he is the one who can stop this. He is the one who caused this problem and can fix this problem. And guess what? This problem is only $10 million now. Our folks have found the savings needed to reduce the deficit from $17 million to only $10 million. And like others have said, the amount of money that RIDOT spends on boondoggle projects, on highway expansion, on crazy things that do not benefit bus riders is deplorable, and it's not fair, and it's inequitable. And you all deserve bus transit. We all deserve bus transit. So please contact Governor McKee and say whatever it is you're saying right here today, make sure the governor hears it too. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Alana Deludi. The $10 million RIPTA gap costs less than what RIDOT spent on the landscaping project near the airport exit on the highway. So that's pretty nuts. And honestly, every developed country has public transit, and I think it's a shame that we think of public transit as a welfare service. It's not a welfare service. Public transit is an essential part of a thriving community and an essential part of being a decent place to live. And the lack of public transit doesn't just affect the people who ride it. It has huge rippling effects. It causes brain drain. It makes our state less attractive to highly educated people, makes our state less attractive to families who might have children that want to use public transit, less attractive to international students, and less attractive to people who might be thinking of moving to Rhode Island temporarily. If anyone's ever looked on some Reddit forums, I've seen posts where people are making posts like, hey, I'm thinking about moving to Providence, or I'm thinking about moving to Warwick, and what's the public transit like, because that's a big factor. And the comments are not good. And I know that's Reddit, but it is kind of a sample of what everyday people are saying, and people really do think about public transit in terms of the livability of a place. It's critical, and it shouldn't be an afterthought. And this is honestly one of the reasons that Hasbro is citing as their potential decision to move from Rhode Island to Boston is the lack of public transit, because Hasbro, a private business, sees that public transit is a critical part of running their business and of making profits. And that's a relevant factor for them. And it's just, I think the craziest thing of all is that Rhode Island has such an immense geographic advantage compared to every other place. We could be the Singapore of New England. Like, our density and our size is incredible. It provides us a huge advantage. Rhode Island is literally small enough that you can walk all the way across it in a day if you're motivated. Like, we could have amazing public transit that could connect all of the populated parts of the state to where, realistically, if we had a well-funded RIPTA service, I could see a lot of people in Rhode Island being able to give up their cars, myself included. And yeah, we should be more like Singapore. That's it.
Hi, my name is Susan Marcus. I live here. I'm also a member of the working group of the Rhode Island Transit Riders, and I really don't have anything else to add, but I signed up. I do want to point out a couple of things. One is that I'm not a very big bus rider. I live in a place where I must drive, and fortunately, I can afford a car. But I am also an urban person, and I like public transit. I want to be able, when I go to Providence for a Rhode Island Transit Riders meeting, I want to take the bus, and I don't want it to take me all day to get there. So I just feel this meeting should be about the expansion of RIPTA service, not about the reduction of service. And I want to thank Chris and the others who have done so much this past year, hiring more drivers, training them. We have really been making progress, and it did look as though we could come up with the 1% of RIDOT's budget in order to close the gap. So since I don't have anything more to add, I just want to say, the one thing I want to say is, even if you don't ride the bus, you should care very much about what happens to RIPTA, because it means more traffic, it means more road expansion, it means more pollution, it means we fail further to meet the Climate Act requirements that the state faces. We talk about it as a service for the disabled and the impoverished, and we should talk about this service for everybody. It should be for everybody.
I'm Joanne Costanza, and in the spirit of let's get creative, we can start to key into organizations that already exist to give people their rights in Rhode Island and elsewhere too, in this climate of what's going on in the country. So one thing that's happening that we could key into concerning this issue is there are regular demonstrations that are happening in all the communities in Rhode Island, or most of them, including in South Kingstown. So if I'm thinking, let's make some signs about transportation and the importance of public transportation, and join in to those demonstrations with our signs about this particular subject and need. So if you want to connect with when those demonstrations are happening, you can just show up with your signs, or you can make some signs to give to other people to hold. You can go on Facebook and look for South County Resistance, and you'll see the schedule of what's happening locally. South County Resistance on Facebook. Thank you.
So my name is Patty Alley. I'm a member of the South Kingstown Town Council, and I'm really happy that everybody has shown up here today, because your voices are really important, and that really is the only thing that really is going to make a difference, I believe. I think that one of the first suggestions was the Flex bus. And I would really encourage RIPTA to consider incorporating more of these types of smaller buses, smaller solutions, and really trying to think outside the box, because as an elected leader, I sit on the Senior Advisory Council and several other, organizations that I work with. And when you zoom out and think about all of the ways that these cuts in transportation will leave real people, the ones here, which there's so many other people out there as well, it just causes a ripple effect. You hear, people that won't be able to get their groceries, and they won't be able to get to their doctor's appointments. So as a result, they'll not go to their doctor's appointments, they won't get care, and then they'll have to call the rescue. So these problems don't go away by removing the transportation. They just simply get worse until we have like a real breakdown of society. And as we move forward into this next period of time, it's going to be really important that we approach these problems, these shared dilemmas that we have, with a new lens, with fresh insight, and also a deep appreciation for the people that depend on these services. So that's pretty much all I have to say.
Hi, my name is Andrew Lampson, and I take the bus to get down to my mother's on Tuesdays. They're trying to cut 69 because I would be affected if they cut it. And I've been taking the bus for 22 years. Marshalls? I take the bus to Marshalls. I work there. Sometimes I used to take 14 to Marshalls, and I take 69 to Marshalls. If they got rid of that, I would be devastated. We need bus service.
Andrew's my stepson, so I'm proud of him. Good for you. My name's Dr. William Preston, and I have that title because of RIPTA. Okay? I went back to school at 44 with a high school diploma, and because of RIPTA, I was able to go to school, get my doctorate, get my undergrad, master's, and doctorate. And because of that, I've been able to help thousands of students. And instead of being a drain on society and living in Sister Dominica subsidized housing, I have my own home. I pay plenty of taxes, all of which you could give to RIPTA. And all of that would be gone. And I'd still be living up in Sister Dominica, and all those students would never have met me, et cetera, et cetera. These cuts are ridiculous. I mean, every time something happens, it's always us to have to pay for it. It's always us to get nailed. A 2% gas on gas hurts us. It hurts the poorest person trying to get to work. Why not tax the damn rich? These people are millions of dollars. Multi-millionaires worth hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Send them a damn public tax that you have to pay if you live here and you're worth over a certain amount of money. You got to pay this. They won't even feel it. And 10 million they find that on the bottom of their shoe. I mean, I'm just tired of us always having to make up, and we're the first thing that gets hit if something is not short. Let's just make this place an Eden for those who need public transportation, at least decent. Let's do it, all right? You guys can find it.
My name is Michael Marin. I'm the Vice President of the Town Council here in South Kingstown. I know about balancing budgets. We sit up there and we have to balance a school budget and a town budget every year. With a state budget of $14 billion, a $10 million shortfall is less than 1/10 of 1%. To the extent that you can advocate with the governor and the cabinet, these cuts are going to be counterproductive to the governor's goals. This is not a separate issue. It's all of a piece. Jay mentioned the Climate Act 2030 plan. Representative Tanzi also talked about the impacts to people. I guess part of what I want to do is advocate for the people who don't even know that they need to be here for this. For example, the governor is very big on affordable housing and pushing that topic. The town council for the last 2 years has been working on proposals for 3 parcels of surplus property here in South Kingstown for affordable housing. 2 of them are spitting distance from the current lines. 1 is directly on it. If there aren't bus lines available, what the heck is the point of putting in more affordable housing if they can't do anything with it? In addition to us, President Parlange at URI has announced building 1,100 more housing units for students on the campus. They're going to need transportation. Over off of Liberty Road, Doorpack Industries is building a 350-unit housing development. They're going to need RIPTA and rides. We have to look at this as part of a whole issue. It really is counterproductive to what the governor himself is saying he needs and wants to do for the state. We have to do something different. Please advocate to put that money back in. And as other people have said, we actually need expansion of it. Thank you.